Hello, Ogies worldwide. I'm Dave Kessler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, located in southwestern Colorado today, and here to bring you Ask Dave, number 173. And what we're going to be reviewing today is a new radio from an old Chinese supplier, that's Baofeng. Menu. A couple things about the menu items. TOT stands for timeout timer. They've got the TOT abbreviation, but they don't actually use the words timeout timer. Timeout timer is if you've been talking too long, it'll shut you down. Okay, it usually blinks when or beeps when it does that, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. NW is narrow wide. I know we sometimes talk about narrow in ham radio, but almost, not all, almost all FM work is done with the wide channels, okay? If you go to narrow, it'll cut your volume in half. If you want to see the channel names instead of the frequencies, you have to change a couple things in memory. They are MDF-A and MDF-B. Where they came up with MDF, I don't know, but if you turn that on in the menu, you'll see the programming names that you set in software. You cannot set them from the front keypad, okay? The radio does scan. It will also scan on FM broadcast, but it will scan two ways. It'll scan either your channels that you've already put in there, it'll scan those, and when you do the programming with Chirp, you can put an S in the column, yes, I want this channel scanned. If you don't, it won't. Or you can go into frequency mode and then have it just scan through a range of frequencies, okay? Now, this device has a flashlight, as usual. I personally think that's a great idea. Let's see, power. Let's look at power. What we're going to do is look at the power and see how much this thing puts out on the different bands, okay?
Panel mode.
Okay, there's 222. Okay, on high power, I'm getting 5.6 watts forward. With an SWR of 1, okay. Now, if I were to go to low power, which you get by pushing the lower left button here once, okay, I transmit again. I'm getting 2¼ watts, 2¼ watts out of this thing. Okay, that's on 222. Now let's go to,
Panel mode.
that's out of the ham band. Let's go up a channel.
7.
Okay, 146.52 is in the 2 meter band. That's low power, 3.47 watts. Note I do have a bit of an SWR on this thing, 1.18. Let's go to high power. Okay. Got 5.96, almost 6 watts out. Okay. Now let's go to something on 440. Okay, here's on 440. Let's now try seeing how we do here. This is high power. High power, we're getting a higher SWR, a ½ watt reflected. It's about 2, so we're getting the foldback circuit is coming back on it. It's a dummy load meant for HF. Let's go to low power. Okay. 1.18 watts. Note that we're not getting the same SWR. It's similar, but the reason for that is because of the foldback circuit in there. It doesn't put out as much power. If you've already got it on low power, you're not going to get enough of a reflection to cause a foldback. Okay, there we go. We've got demonstrated the power of the thing, and you have an idea what it does. I say an idea. This is not a lab grade meter here, but it gives us a relative idea. Yes, it does put out power on those channels. Let's look at programming. I'll be very straightforward. Baofeng has some sort of an arrangement with Chirp which you can get to at chirp.danplanet.com. It's free programming software, and it works with this radio. Now, since this radio is coming out through Radioddity, Radioddity has its own software. However, the Chirp software is far more functional. Okay, once you get your cable, your programming cable to work, you can really do some things pretty cool with the Chirp software. There's a lot of the menu items that you can set in the Chirp software. In the Radioddity software, you can only set those memory items via the front panel. You can't set them in the programming software, just the channel indications. Okay, I recommend Chirp. It's free. So is the Radioddity software. You can try both if you want. By the way, this old cable here that I bought some years ago to program my Baofeng radio is one that is designed specifically for Windows and plugs into the headphone jack. It comes in down from the top just like this. And this supports Win 10, okay? And I just was kind of curious, and this does work. Okay, here's Chirp. Now, when we look at the radio, we're going to want to download from the radio, and the first thing it's going to want to note is the COM port. So we have to go back to right-click on Start and click on Device Manager, and we'll move Device Manager up here for everyone to see. There's Device Manager, and what you're interested in are the ports. Okay, so we're going to take this radio and we're going to just stick in the cable, and we notice we picked up a new port, the COM8. Okay, now that's all we need out of there, just remember that. So here we're going to look at COM8, Radioddity, UV-5RX3, and you'll note that there's gazillions of radios. Notice it's under Radioddity. Okay, and if we were going, let's see what would happen if we went under Baofeng. It doesn't have it. Okay, so you've got to go in under Radioddity, UV-5RX3, and OK. That says turn radio off, connect cable, make sure it's full, and turn radio on. May need to set the volume up quite a ways. By the way, the actual communication between the computer and here is via audio tones on here. So that's why we make sure that this is turned up here so that the audio tones coming out of the radio can be heard by the computer. So we'll just do OK, and we see here that it is cloning. Okay, it's taking everything that I've got out of here, coming up into Chirp. And now let's see what we've got. We've got two tabs. See Radioddity right here, okay. We've got the memory tab and the settings tab. Okay, just to see everything we have here. File, you can look at recent files that you've used before. You can import. Now this is what I did. I decided that, you know, I have other handy talkies that I like to keep on a few local frequencies. We really don't have much in the way of repeaters out here where I live. So I thought I would just import that into this radio. It worked great. Okay, so I imported that into here and wrote it back up. Now let's look here and edit. You can cut, copy, paste, all sorts of things. Download from the radio, upload to the radio, import from a data source. There are all kinds of data sources and so on. And help, very nice. Okay, so these are the memories here. What we're looking at is in channel 1 here is the frequency, the name that you want to give it. You can just, you know, click on it and type a name in for it. Got up to 127 memories, not bad for a $50 radio. The tone mode, is you've got lots of tone modes here. Tone squelch, DTCS, and cross. We're going to use just tone mode. There is the tone right there, 107.2. Now the tone squelch is coming back the other way. If we had it with the tone squelch, which would be both here, or cross, this number would matter. It doesn't here. We don't use the DTCS codes or anything like that. The cross mode, again, different things you can do there. This is not, it is duplex. You have a choice between minus, plus, some unusual split, or off. Off meaning none, same as none, okay. In this case, a minus, and it's offset by 5 megahertz. This would be 0.6 megahertz for the 2-meter repeaters, 5 for the 440. Here is the mode FM. The modes are FM and narrow FM. We want to use regular FM. Power, high or low. And as we saw earlier, the high versus low changed quite a bit versus band. Now this S for skip, if this channel has an S in it, like the weather channel, the scan will skip it, okay? And you can have it skip other things that seem to come on a lot, like a PRS or packet or something like that, and just scan the ones that are voiced by leaving this blank here. In the settings, you have, for example, here's your squelch. You can set the squelch up and down, battery saver algorithm, how many seconds before the backlight times out, whether there's a beep enabled, timeout timer, as I was telling you earlier, you can set to lots of different things. Display mode A tells you, do you want to see the frequency, the name, or the channel, okay? Display mode, I've got one set to name, one set to frequency, just for fun. Standby LED color, purple, blue, or orange, and you can change these around, anything that you want, okay? Advanced settings, now you're getting into Vox. I really don't recommend Vox for 2 meters or any VHF radios. If you do have to have it, there'd be specialized circumstances. It is here if you need it. Dual watch allows you to, if you turn on dual watch, which will have priority if they're both receiving at the same time. A, which is the upper frequency, B, which is the lower frequency, or off. We've got it off right now. Alarm mode. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to the commercial FM, and there is something on a ham band that you've got in one of those registers, A or B, the ham band will take precedence and cut off the FM. Okay, voice English. You got English, Chinese. Scan resume. There are 3 different kinds of scan: timeout, carrier off, and one other. It's in the. We have enabled the broadcast FM radio. Busy channel lockout is so that if you are doing simplex and you don't want to hear other activity, and so you've got the squelch set using a tone, you can cause this thing that if the channel is actually busy and you pick it up thinking there's nothing there, it will lock out so you won't transmit on top of somebody else. Okay. And so on. Other menus in here, power on messages and so on. FM radio preset, this is just the single, this is where it'll come up. By the way, if you change it, the next time you look here, it will change too if you've downloaded things. A bunch of stuff for DTMF and squelches for various things in here that you don't really need to worry about. Okay, so there we have it. So,
frequency mode.
All right, got you covered. So thank you for watching this review of this interesting little radio. It's a real nice one. It fits nicely into the back pocket. You can lock it so it doesn't change frequency while it's in your pocket, you know, all the usual things that you'd want from an inexpensive generic little handheld. And it does do 3 bands. It can get you on 220. That is a good thing. Okay, and in channel news, please check out the support page at it's dcasler.com/support. As simple as that. Especially take a look at the Patreon page, which is listed there. So, until we next meet, 73.